Hello and thank you so much for being here. So as you can see, I am moving. Right now I'm still in my condo doing some fixes, but we did get a townhouse, which I'm very excited about. I'm gonna tell you where shortly, but this video actually is a labor of almost a year and a half of me trying to decide where in Ontario I want to live in. I always had an idea, and definitely there are a few cities that I considered living in, and that's what this video is all about. So let's go. So let's start with Oakville. So the population of Oakville is 239,000 people. Average home price is around 1.2 million and average rent price is around 2,300. And by the way, down below I'm gonna reference where I got these numbers from. And all of these numbers are for the current time, which is June 2024. Overall, this whole list is not in any kind of order. All of these places I definitely think are great to live in. I personally love Oakville. I think it's a really adorable town. It is definitely very beautiful. I think this city is really well maintained. There's lots of parks. Actually, like the whole lakeshore of Ontario, I think is one of the most prettiest. There's a number of public parks. The houses, I also kind of like driving around, checking out people's houses, are gorgeous and again, so well manicured. In the winter, it seems like also the snow is out of the way. Clearly, the city cares. I can definitely tell you that. I've had a number of close friends who have lived in Oakville and I had to go back and forth a number of times. And it's very clear to me that once people move to Oakville, they don't really go outside of Oakville. It seems like everybody's just very happy. Whoever lives there is very happy. That being said, Oakville is more on the expensive side, as you could already tell over there by the average home prices and average rent prices. At one point, I think I read somewhere that it was like the second largest rent price in all of Canada. But I don't want to particularly spread that information around because there's just so many sources, hence why I'm putting down the links where I got this information from. And in terms of food scene, I think there's lots of restaurants. It's definitely grew with the years that I've been going there. Over here, we're at the really beautiful restaurant. The name of it escapes me. I'm gonna insert it later on. But it seems like Oakville is the place where you drive, like many of the Ontario cities, specifically because I have heard that the buses kind of are not the most reliable in Oakville. But definitely what is kind of the win for Oakville is the GO train, and that is for sure very convenient. You can be downtown in, gosh, I think about 20 minutes, half an hour. And here's one more gorgeous park, which is called Paletta Mansion. The outside grounds are free and there's a number of hiking paths. Again, one of the main reasons why I love going to Oakville and why Oakville is on the list. So the second city on the list is Markham. I actually consider living here, definitely one of my favorite cities. Right now, by the way, currently I'm in North York. So Markham is very close. The population of Markham is 368,000. Average home price is 1.3 million and average rent price is around 2,400. Why I love Markham? I think Markham is one of my favorite cities in the winter. Whenever the weather isn't as great, it has so many cool shops. It has so many grocery stores, restaurants, so many interesting restaurants, and often something new is popping up. And plus I have a number of my favorite restaurants, like for example Baker Duck over here, which I think only opened last year, but it quickly became one of my favorite places. They have the most interesting sandwiches. And also, as I understand, there's going to be hopefully a subway line extension that's almost going to be closer to the Markham. Not yet. Markham is sort of kind of a Thorn Hill area, but that's going to be closer to it. Obviously, car is best if you live in Markham. Lately, the traffic has been pretty bad in Markham as well, just as in many areas of Toronto. But overall, it's not horrible. A large Asian and Indian population lives in this area, which creates for more dynamic multicultural experiences that I absolutely love. But that's not to say that Markham is all about shopping and food, which it is the number one thing for me, but that's not to say that Markham does have a number of really cool parks. Like for example, over here, Mill Dam, free parking, free entry, just lots of hiking area, beautiful dam, beautiful bridge, one of my favorite places as well. And another one of my absolute favorite places is the Unionville. Over here is in the winter time and it is gorgeous. The pond in there is called Two Good Pond and I love hiking around there, especially in the winter time. But Unionville in itself is so adorable and such a beautiful place to check out. Caledon and Halton Hills area are our next great city to live in Ontario with a population of 66,000 people. Average home price is $1,016,000 and average rent price is about $2,000. other than me loving this area as well, has been actually named as one of the happiest places to live in Ontario. I'm gonna link that article down below. I think the reason why it's the happiest place to live in Ontario is just because it has that kind of country feel, really beautiful country feel. Oh my gosh, this area is so gorgeous in the fall. You have to go here in the fall. Besides that, it has this beautiful nature, but it's not that far from the city. Really, it's about half an hour from like central of Toronto, so it really has the both of both worlds, which I think is what makes this area so desirable. I would definitely say that this area is more on the expensive side. I think mainly because it has more of the kind of houses versus condos, possibly is the reason why. And over here, Glen Williams Glass and the whole Glen Williams village is so adorable. Lots of different art shops. There's also an antique area. The main street market that I was just showing before, also very beautiful. And of course, there's lots of beautiful parks. For example, Dominion Gardens Park over here, and another gorgeous area is the Bell Fountain Conservation Area that is so beautiful, and Forks of the Credit Park. Cheltenham Badlands is another unique area that is so beautiful. Recently, I have released a really cool book which is called Free or Almost Free Ontario Destinations from Toronto. It's going to be linked down below. It's just a really good collection of a lot of free places that you can check out in Ontario. It includes 10 full-day trips, 88 one-location trips, and 11 fun road games. Continuing with our best cities to live in Ontario, Barrie is definitely on the list. With a population of 164,000 people, average home price is $816,000 and average rent price is around $2,000. So definitely you can see that Barrie is more financially responsible choice. It is further, of course, from the city, but it is definitely more affordable. I have heard so many people move to Barrie over the years, and also Innisfil in the area, kind of closest by. I definitely love the city. I think it's great. It has Lake Simcoe over there, so you have that lake beauty, and I actually love Lake Simcoe because I think it's a bit of a warmer lake versus, let's say, Lake Ontario. Culturally, there is a McLaren Arts Center that's really nice in the city. Overall, the city is very pleasant to be in. They have lots of pubs, lots of restaurants and shops. Each time I'm there, I discover something new. Definitely lots of people I have heard live in the Barrie and commute all the way to Toronto for work if needed be. It definitely offers the big city quality of life for a lower price. And as we get further and further kind of out from the main city of Toronto, I definitely see myself, the friendliness of people does increase. I don't know if it's because maybe the hustle and bustle of the city is not influencing the people, but there's definitely friendlier people when you go a little bit further north or east or west. And not only can you commute from Barrie to Toronto if your work is in Toronto, but with the population of the Barrie being so large, there's definitely lots of opportunities to just kind of stay in Barrie and work in Barrie. Another thing that I have read about online is that the healthcare facilities are a little bit better versus the main Toronto area because, of course, less people, and they definitely have a number of good hospitals. And another great point for Barrie is that overall the crime rates are fairly low. Innisfil is another city that's very close to Barrie that I hear a lot of people move to. Very similar to Barrie, of course, though not to say that it's the same. The Friday Harbor, for me personally, whenever I'm there, I love checking it out. Beautiful space, lots of boats, of course, a number of really cool restaurants and coffee shops. So up next we have Peterborough. And if you have been following me, you know that I love Peterborough because I think there's just so much to do in there, and it does have an average rent price is $1,800. So I definitely did consider Peterborough as kind of a place to live when I was going through my search. And the reason for that is, as I already mentioned, I find it a very dynamic city. I find that there's lots to do in this city, and what for me personally is a big deal is that it has a good balance of nature, kayaking opportunities, and just like hiking areas. Versus the city life, because I do need the city life. I do enjoy, I do enjoy my shopping, and I do enjoy good infrastructure and good grocery stores and good restaurants. And I think Peterborough has both of these things. This is the place to grow your family. For example, they have a really beautiful, totally free Riverview Park and Zoo. I love going there, and it seems like it's the place for families to kind of gather around and look at the animals and have picnics. In terms of negatives about Peterborough, definitely their crime rate isn't the greatest. There is a bit of an issue with that. And another thing maybe to consider is that the city is fairly small. So the business opportunities, work opportunities are on the lower end versus larger cities. But as I mentioned before, in terms of the small city feel, I do find the friendliness level over here is much better versus in larger cities. And over here is a great example of the community that Peterborough has. Yearly they have this really cool event where a bunch of kayakers get together and they do this lift lock, and they kind of pile up all together and they lift the lift lock so that the kayakers can exit onto the river on the other side. Really cool. We just attended that. It was quite the party. Now let's go to a city that I actually did also think about moving, and this is Haliburton. This is about 2.5 hours north of Toronto. The population is only 18,000. The average home price is 756,000. Average rent price is 1,800 to about 2,000. So this is full-on cottage country. This is not really city living. This is for the people who definitely for retirement, but you don't need to be. This is also for people who maybe are interested in kind of homesteading, buying a piece of land. So yes, it would need to be people in their midlife. Beautiful, beautiful area. The lakes are gorgeous. In the summertime, it is amazing. And I would say there's quite a few things to do in Haliburton area as well. So over here, for example, is the Haliburton Sculpture Forest, which by the way is on the grounds of Fleming College of Art and Design. If you live there, you can definitely do a number of art classes. They have a really gorgeous antique store, which is called Castle Antiques, and it's also a coffee shop. Definitely a number of cute restaurants and pretty much everything that you need to live, such as grocery stores, Canadian Tires, Tim Hortons, things like that. Over here is a really beautiful place called Abbey Gardens. They kind of invite you to walk around in their homestead garden. You get to see the chickens, you get to see how they grow things. So it's definitely more on the grow it yourself kind of area. So definitely there's lots of opportunity. The home prices are not extremely high, but they usually come with a number of lands so that you can again do some kind of planting or gardening yourself if you wish. In terms of negatives, I would say that in the winter you do need to kind of shovel a lot. So maybe if you're a retiree, you will need to hire somebody to help you out if you don't want to do it yourself. The next city that I absolutely adore and definitely would love to live there, but I don't think I will because it's actually pretty pricey, is Grimsby. So this is located about an hour kind of in the Niagara region. The population of it is roughly 30,000 people and the average home price is $892,000. I would say that's on the lower end because whenever I would research anything in Grimsby, it would be much more expensive. I don't know if it's just my luck. And average rent price is $2,300. Why I love Grimsby? I'm a huge gardener. I would love to create a garden here because stuff grows much nicer in Grimsby. It is warmer climate. Not by much, it's not that far from Toronto, but it is warmer climate and it's just so beautiful. Of course, the Painted Ladies of Grimsby, I've posted about them a number of times. It's an area that is just so wholesome and lots of cute houses, like gingerbread houses that are bright and beautiful and so many flowers. It's a dream. I would love to own one of these houses one day. Actually, one of them did go on sale recently. So definitely there's an opportunity to live there. In terms of the negatives, it is for sure further from the city. So the commute is also a bit rough. That area is always congested. The QEW is a bit of a congested area. So it's definitely best if you work remotely and you can stay in the area. Grimsby on the Lake is a beautiful area that's fairly newly developed as I understand. It has a number of condos over here, the most beautiful view onto Lake Ontario. And of course, the highlight for me of Grimsby is there are so many farms. You can have your peaches, you can have your plums, cherries. I love that whole kind of element of it. It definitely is a dream place to live for me personally, but I don't know how functionally it would be for me right now in my life. Over the summer, we went to the Grimsby garden tour and we got to check out about 10 gardens of different peoples that are just kind of welcoming people to see what their gardens is like. And they're beautiful. The flowers are beautiful. There's definitely more stuff growing there versus Toronto area because we've done also garden tours in Toronto. Some people have beautiful pools. And of course, the wineries are another highlight of that region. So up next we have Richmond Hill, and yes, that is the area where I'm moving to. I'm very excited about this. So the population is 206,000 people. Average home price is 1.4 million. We definitely did not go for anything of that price. We got something much cheaper. Average rent price is 2,900. So as you can see, the financially price-wise, rent-wise, it is more of an expensive city. It is not very far from Toronto. Where we are going to be living is only about 10 minutes drive from the TTC stop, so not very far theoretically from Toronto, which is, of course, makes it a bit more expensive. Crime-wise, Richmond Hill is not doing bad either. It's fairly safe city, and it also definitely has that kind of country feel, but at the same time, fairly central and fairly modern. Over here we have the Wilcox Lake. It's a really beautiful park. In terms of the family things, there's of course parks, lots of community centers. There's even a David Dunlap Observatory nearby, which is really cool. For me, definitely the selling feature was the closeness to Toronto, the safety, and lots of community and family things, such as lots of parks, hiking areas, community centers. And over here is the Richmond Green Skate Trail, also very pretty. I love skating in the winter. It's actually one of my favorite things to do in the winter, and it's definitely lovely. In terms of the negative, you definitely need a car if you live here. There are of course buses that go, but it's definitely easier with the car. And as I mentioned before when I was talking about Markham, there is a planned, or at least hopefully planned, extension of the Young Line subway that will go 5 stops north. So pretty much the subway should be in Richmond Hill in about 5 years. But let's see about this when the time comes. So here are some honorable mentions, because not all of the cities I wanted to include into the main 8 cities that I was talking about. And Oshawa is one of them. With a population of 414,000 people, average home price is $781,000 and average rent price is about $2,100. So right away, let's talk about the reason why I want to put the Oshawa into the main list. It is their crime index. The Oshawa's crime index right now is 59%, which is pretty high. And here are all the other cities that I'm going to be talking about in this video, listed from the highest crime to the lowest crime. And as you can see, Caledon, for example, the happiest place in Ontario, is at only 24%. So as much as I do love Oshawa, that was one of the reasons why. But I'm hoping it is going to improve, because as I understand, last year there was an insane amount of migration of people going and living in Oshawa and buying houses in there. So with maybe more people, there will be more of the improvement in the crime index. Why I love Oshawa, as a tourist, I love it. I really do. There's a number of farms. There is the Parkwood Estate. There's that whole country feel without it being too far out in the country. You have all of the infrastructure that you need, lots of green space, and of course Lake Ontario is right there. The Crepe Donuts over here, honestly, these are my favorite donut shop. If you've never been, you have to go to Oshawa just for these donuts. And trust me, I'm not even that much of a foodie, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but yes, these donuts are that good. Canadian Automotive Museum is another gem of Oshawa. If you've never been, you have to check it out. So many cool cars, very interesting. Read all of the signs. Again, I usually don't read the signs, but there's just so many good, cool things and facts about cars. Like for example, over there they have a car that was sort of the replica of Pablo Picasso's car, or they have a car that can go into the water. How amazing is that? Another honorable mention is Collingwood. This is heading north about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours north of Toronto. Population is 26,000 people. Average home price is $691,000. Average rent price is $1,900. So the reason why I didn't include Collingwood into my kind of main list is that, to be honest, I don't know much about living at this place. I've only been here as a tourist, so I don't really want to say things that I don't know. I do know a number of people who have moved here, but they specifically moved here to create business. So that's one thing for you. If let's say you're into Airbnbs, you can get an Airbnb or flip an old one and rent it out, because this place is perfect for, of course, the summertime, for the kind of cottagers, and also wintertime, because Blue Mountain, one of the best kind of ski courses in Ontario, is right here. And same as with all of the smaller cities, there's that niceness of the small city, but also all of the infrastructure that you need. The town of Collingwood is adorable. There's lots of different shops, like the main street. I adore going there each time.
There's pretty much anything you want. There's coffees, there's pubs, there are unique kind of stores. Over here we're at the coffee shop, and they had Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg hugging in a bathroom. That was so quirky. I love that. They even have a really nice spa over here that we attended. It's called Living Shore Spa, and they have like a number of water stations that you go through. So it has that more like elevated, kind of relaxing feeling, if you will. And another city that did not make it into the actual main list is North York, which is ironic because I actually live here right now, now that we're getting ready to move. And the population of North York is 869,000 people. Average home price is 1.3 million. Average rent price is 2,600. So why I didn't include North York? Because I already lived here for about 10 years. I am good. I think it's an amazing place to live. I do strongly think that this is an amazing place. It is more of the condo living. It's not so much for the house. And I'm at the stage in life where I want to live in a house. I have done my condo living, and it's good, but I want to move on. But in terms of living here specifically, I lived at Shepherd and Young. Everything you can possibly want is walking distance away. That is the biggest highlight. Literally anything you can possibly want. Any kind of cuisine, any kind of shopping. Just at Shepherd and Young, you literally have everything. You don't need a car to live here. The subway is right there. I think it's highly underrated when it comes to downtown living, because downtown living, and I also lived downtown before for about 6 years, is very congested in my opinion. I would not want to live downtown ever again in my life. Another stage in life that I'm kind of okay with and I'm moving on. But if you want less of the amount of people and the traffic, not to say that there isn't traffic at Shepherd and Young, for sure there is, but I do think kind of North York area is the perfect place in Toronto.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what other towns, I'm sure there are so many that you are living in, or maybe it's a town or a city that's improving and growing at a rapid pace. Write it down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.